God is about to shock you with a breakthrough you didn't expect. I was taken in the Spirit to a hall where time itself waited at the door, and the sound of a gavel was the thunder of many waters. The court of heaven was in session. Pillars shone like polished fire, and the floor seemed to breathe with living light. At the center, the Ancient of Days sat robed in radiance, and a scroll lay open before him with your name written in letters that pulsed like a heartbeat. On either side, witnesses assembled, clouds of the faithful, saints who know the pattern of rescue, angels who keep record of every tear you thought no one saw. The accuser slithered close, skin shimmering with borrowed shadows, presenting files of falsehoods, delays labeled as destiny, disappointments mislabeled as identity, and old contracts forged in the days you were too tired to check the fine print. He spoke of closed doors as proof, of silence as verdict, of waiting as waste. And on his forked tongue was the lie that you were forgotten. Then there was the rustle of an unsheathed blade and the scent of ozone. Archangel Michael stepped forward, eyes like horizon lightning, sword catching starlight. Permission to approach, he said, but the permission had already been granted. I present counter-evidence, the covenant, sealed before the foundations, the promise spoken in the womb, the assignments heaven placed in this one's bones. I present the ledger of injustice and the receipts of theft, the places where identity was copied, signatures stolen, and destiny forged in the name of the wrong owner. He held up sheets that became scenes, the moment you questioned yourself because a lesser voice in a louder room said you were not enough, the season where a gatekeeper changed the rules just as you arrived, the day a trusted face wore a mask and borrowed your favor and used it for themselves. The courtroom watched as scenes rewinded and played, the wrongs laid bare without shame sticking to you. A witness stepped from the stands and I knew him by the scars on his hands. He spoke your name like a bell being struck, and every chain in the room remembered it had a breaking point. Let it be recorded, he said, waiting has not been waste, it has been wait. Not delay unto denial, but preparation unto placement. The file called No is empty. The folder called Never is a misprint. He touched the scroll and the ink turned to a river. It ran down the steps like a decree and filled every gap the enemy had exploited. Call the case, he said. The gavel fell, and the sound traveled through years of closed corridors to the room where you are sitting now. I saw locks spitting out keys they had swallowed. I saw hinges creaking open where rust laughed yesterday. I saw a door you did not even know existed swing toward you from the wall you thought was solid. The decree read, restitution by 7. Exposure where there was impersonation. Recovery of the name, recovery of the time, recovery of the favor. Immediate enforcement. The bailiffs of the throne, swift angels with feet like wind, went out carrying writs of execution against delay, doubt, and disguises. Somewhere a ledger updated, losses flagged for return, interest compounded by mercy. Hear this, The breakthrough assigned to you will not walk through the front door you have been watching. It will come from the side gate you didn't know was part of the property. You have stared so long at one knob that you forgot the house has windows. Heaven did not forget. There is a sound now, boards shifting, beams groaning, the architecture of your life moving to accommodate a larger room. You will not have to pretend not to be surprised. You will be startled by ease. Where you were braced for the push, you will find yourself carried. But before it arrives in your hands, heaven insists on setting your name straight. For too long, a counterfeit wore your garments. I saw the scene, a conference table where decisions about you were being made without you. A familiar voice, persuasive, slid your ideas forward under their breath, as if they were theirs, and the room nodded. That mask is being removed publicly. The next time they attempt it, the paper will burst into flame in their hands, not to harm, but to expose. Their lips will form your name, but it will echo back as their own accountability. The door they took by pretending to be you will shut and, on the same hinge, another will open for you with your signature glowing on the brass plate. The angels assigned to records and seals are updating entries as I speak, ownership corrected, authorship recognized, inheritance tagged with your living seal. I asked, "What is the timing?" and the clock in the court flickered between now and now and now, like an oil lamp catching. The judge smiled, an expression that unknotted the rope around your chest. "We do not count as mortals do," he said, "but we honor their days." He nodded to Michael. "Announce the phases." Michael raised his sword and numbered them not with digits but with flashes of light. First, the whisper that interrupts the lie. Second, the key that appears while you are doing the ordinary. Third, the call you did not schedule. Fourth, the table that has a seat you did not request. Fifth, the report that changes while it is being read. Sixth, the nameplate corrected. Seventh, the rejoicing in the open that scares the darkness back into its cave. Those lights are already traveling toward you. I saw a corridor lined with doors labeled for other people, their surnames etched deep, their crests pressed in wax, and one door without a label, as if it had been ashamed to speak. Michael put the flat of his blade against it and the letters lifted from inside the wood, carving themselves without a hand. It was your name. The wood breathed, the lock laughed, the door swung. Inside was a room both new and somehow known, the sense you get when you walk into a childhood home after years away and remember which board creaks but not why. Heaven said, "We have kept this room unrated." The furniture was covered with cloths to protect from dust that never entered. He pulled the coverings away, strategies you wrote and forgot, melodies you hummed and filed under later, courage you used in one season and never replenished. The room was an answer waiting for a question you were too tired to ask. There were tools on a workbench, blueprints stamped with a lion's watermark, jars labeled with strangely practical words: patience, boldness, discernment about people who clap and people who lift. At the far end, a window that looked out over a field. The field had been plowed without your hands by an invisible plow. Your only task, heaven said, is to sow what we give you, not to argue with the field about whether it is ready. The usual crows that steal seed hovered, but every time they dipped, an unseen current lifted them away. This time, said the voice, the devourer is rebuked before he even tastes. You will notice it in small ways. Conversations that used to drain you will end early without offense. Opportunities that used to ask you to shrink will ask you to expand. Invitations to manipulate outcomes will seem silly because outcomes will start finding you. Do not be confused if what arrives first looks smaller than what you imagined. The package will be wrapped in ordinary paper. The handwriting on it will be familiar, as if written by your own future. Breakthrough is modest when it enters. It does not wear a crown at the door. But once it crosses the threshold, it grows to fill the space you have prepared in your midnight hours. The humble seed carries the tall tree. A call that says, "Can you advise?" will become, "Can you lead?" A message that reads, "We'd like to test your idea," becomes, "We've budgeted for your vision." The email with a one-line subject becomes a contract with clauses that protect your time instead of consuming it. Watch for the phrase, "We were thinking of someone else, but your name kept coming up." That is not coincidence. That is the wind of the decree blowing through decision rooms. There will be a moment, soon, when your spine straightens without you commanding it. You will notice your voice settle from a tremble to a tone. This is not arrogance, this is alignment. You have apologized for being placed. Stop that. Placement is not theft. The ones who built their platform with stolen bricks will be gently removed for repairs, not humiliated unless they cling to stolen ground. Do not waste breath on revenge, the court has already ruled. Your energy belongs to building. When you are tempted to explain your rise, recall this: those who need your explanation are not carrying your assignment. Keep your explanations for the apprentices who will come to learn, because they will, sooner than you think. Your testimony will be a blueprint. I am shown a scene, you standing at a river that has told you no for years. You have thrown stones of plan and sticks of effort, and the current laughed and carried them away. Today, without fanfare, the river parts, not like a dramatic movie, but like a curtain pulled back by a practiced hand. The rocks at the bottom are smooth, the path is dry. Crossing does not require a miracle of endurance, only the decision to move your feet. The waters hold their breath until you pass. Behind you, they clap back together with applause that scares the hyenas that had waited on the bank for you to fail. On the far side, trumpets do not blare, a lamp is lit. You have entered a neighborhood called suddenly, but the foundation of that neighborhood is called slowly. Do not despise the slowly that built your suddenly. You have prayed for signs. Heaven is willing to give one. The next time you reach for a handle in the realm where you usually get a polite, "We'll see," it will already be warm, as if someone opened it from the inside just before you touched it. The next time your name is introduced in a room, you will feel the faintest breeze on your cheek. That is the witness of the Spirit saying, "We are present." The next time a familiar manipulator tries to weave a web, their thread will tangle around their own fingers and they will withdraw to untie knots in private while you step forward in peace. The allure of shortcuts will die in your appetite, integrity will taste sweet. And that quiet, aching doubt, "Is this really me?" will look small under the weight of a peace that does not come from grit. I hear a decree regarding time. The years the locust consumed are accounted for, says the judge. Time is not a tyrant here, it is a servant. We redeem the cycles. There will be double doors, one labeled return, another labeled acceleration. You will pass through both in one motion. What you thought would take 10 will take 2. What you thought was gone will be standing in your path waving as you arrive. But note this, acceleration without governance becomes chaos. So heaven gives you the gift of boundaries, the grace to say no, the wisdom to choose which tables host your voice, the calm to let an opportunity pass because it is not your assignment. This is protection, not poverty. The breakthrough is not just blessing, it is blueprint. I am instructed to speak to your household. Peace is walking your halls at night, drafting a truce with insomnia. That heavy furniture called fear is being moved out, its indentations in the carpet lifting as if it never sat there. You will dream again, and the dreams will be practical, addresses to go to, names to call, a sequence in which to do small tasks that unlock large results. Write them down in the morning, the pen will feel guided. Children who have been restless will settle with new language on their tongues, elders who have been weary will recall stories you need to hear and will tell them at the right hour. There is a table being set where generations exchange wisdom without friction. In your house, songs will replace sighs. To those who borrowed your name, heaven does not forget mercy, but it loves truth. The season of taking what was not theirs has expired. They will be offered a path of apology. If they accept it, you will find yourself unable to resent, your heart will be strangely light. If they refuse, the exposure will be gentle at first, lights turning on unexpectedly, documents misfiled revealing themselves, a witness remembering what they forgot. You are not assigned to chase them, light is faster. Your assignment is to step into what is returning to you, to steward it with open hands. The courtroom refuses to let bitterness be your badge. You are to wear joy like a signet. Michael speaks again. When the door opens, go through as who you are now, not as who you were when it first closed. You have new muscle memory. You will be tempted to shrink to fit old rooms that have waited to mock you. Don't stretch. The mantle fits the new frame. As you move, you'll notice convoy angels, helpers who specialize in transitions, escorting you. They streamline paperwork, they nudge schedules, they clear traffic both literal and metaphorical. You will arrive on time without hurrying. Meetings will begin when you walk in, not before. If a plan falls through, it will be because a better one is being slid under the door. The alignment will feel almost eerie, but it is simply the absence of sabotage. There is a final order from the bench, publish the vindication. It does not mean parade your enemies. It means allow the result to be seen. Hide not the work of our hands. When the testimony is ready, tell it. Your story will be the sound of keys in other people's locks. Your breakthrough will become a map for those still staring at walls. And in the telling, you will discover more than what you received, you will locate who you have become. The court is not only giving you things, it is revealing you to yourself, the you that was written in the scroll before your first breath. The session ends not with dismissal but with commissioning. The gavel sounds softer now, like rain starting on a roof. Michael sheaths his sword and leaves 2 feathers where he stood, not as decoration but as reminders, 1 feather for courage at the threshold, 1 for discernment at the table. Keep them in the pocket of your daily life. When turmoil rises like a sudden wind, touch them. They will anchor you to the decree already spoken. The accuser has withdrawn, his case, struck out. The judge's robe trails blessing as he stands, and the hall brightens as if morning just broke open. Step lightly but do not hesitate. You will feel the ground answer your feet. When you reach for the handle of the next ordinary door, don't be shocked if it swings wide before you touch it, nevertheless, be shocked, in the holy sense, because surprise is part of the gift. This breakthrough is not compensation for pain, it is alignment with purpose. It is the unveiling of a room prepared for you in a house you thought you could only admire from the sidewalk. It is your name pronounced correctly and loudly in places where it was once mispronounced and whispered. It is justice without spectacle, mercy without compromise, favor without flattery, placement without pretending. It is happening quietly and loudly at the same time, and you will know it by the way peace settles without permission. So walk forward. Let the door close behind you on its own, there is no need to slam. Ahead waits a table where your chair has never been empty, a field where the wind is on your side, a city with gates lifted for you by unseen hands. Heaven has ruled. The room has opened. And God is about to shock you with a breakthrough you didn't expect.